This build features content from a pack that I got for free through the EA Creator Network. And today I'm building in Ravenwood once again. I think all of my speed builds the past month has been in Ravenwood. I've had a lot of fun exploring all the neighborhoods and the different lots that are in the world. And this one is also located where I think I've done my last two builds. My brain, it's a little fuzzy because I took a week off of editing and like doing voiceovers, so it's like I feel out of practice right now. And so I feel very confused and not sure what to say at the moment. But this build, it is a bed and breakfast, which was inspired by the Sweet Slumber Party kit that came out. So when I started building this, that pack or that kit just had come out, and I really don't like. I'm more of a Sims builder, so I was like, what am I gonna do with the free Create a Sim kit? And like how can I showcase that for like my builds? And so I went through the swatches and I really liked just like all the colors of the pajamas in the kit, and that inspired this idea of having a bed and breakfast that's like this cute little cottage. There's like a small farm, so you could have like fresh eggs and fresh milk. um and the like color palette inside is a little bit different from my usual color palette. This one uses a lot of mint green and pastel pinks, so it's like heavily inspired by the swatches that came in the kit, because it is like the pajamas that came in are really pretty, which like you would have seen at the start when I had my four Sims like sitting around the table having tea like out in the smaller cottage next to the main house of it, because I imagined like the space inside is very small, so I couldn't really fit in a dining room. And I was like, I could have a small area off to the side of the house where you wake up in the morning, and instead of going to the like dining room inside the house, you would just go down the steps like in the backyard to this like little cottage that you can have tea and like a nice breakfast spread. And so that's kind of like how I solved the issue of the inside of the build not being very large. It is only 3 bedrooms. This is a rental residential, but when I uploaded it to the gallery, it like uploaded as a residential. I don't know why that was. But my vision was that this would be a rental. But you could also use it as a residential lot. It would work as that. It's not really like anything like that would scream rental property on it, or like I mean like a vacation home. Okay, wait, so I made it vacation rental lot, not residential rental lot. That's apartments. This one is, it's supposed to be the vacation lot. I guess you can see how like out of practice I am, even just from like a week of stepping away, which I really did need because editing this took me a while. I just needed like a break to just like enjoy other things. And so I've been like playing Animal Crossing again a lot. And so like really forced myself to not edit a lot. And while I was taking my little break, I did start another build, and it's going to be sort of like a build with me, very long video with like not a lot of like edits. It's not like a speed build or anything, which I haven't done in like a while. So that's probably going to be next week's video, which will also be helpful in me like still like taking a bit of a break from editing because I haven't been enjoying it as much as I usually do. And that's usually means that I need to take a step back from it. And having like a long form video like that where I don't really have to edit anything, I think that'll also be helpful for this. And once again, I talked over like the beginning of me building the shape of this house. Um, I haven't like I mean, I built this like over a week ago. I don't know the timeline. So I don't really remember what I was thinking when I was doing this shape. I had played around with different things as you had seen before. I thought that I want like a tower with like the new life and death greenhouse windows. And then I decided that I didn't like that, and so I kinda changed a bunch of things, and then I had seen that tower off in the background of the world where it's, like, ruins, and then there's that, like, round section with the roof all the way in the back of the build. I was like, "I feel like I could play into that," and so I made a tower that has, like, a similar roof shape to that, because I was like, "Alright, this would probably fit in here." And it's, like, a really beautiful lot, it's overlooks the water, and I do think that this would work really nicely as, like, placed with my tarot reader's cottage. It's in the same neighborhood as well as my 8 sim manor. So technically this could be a, like, save file, like group of builds, or at least for the neighborhood. I think that the neighborhood has one more house in it that I haven't really done anything with yet. I think next week's build it is in Moonwood Mill, so it's going to be a step away from Ravenwood, which maybe is needed considering that that's, like, the only world I've been building in lately. Like, when I had seen the world originally when the pack came out, I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't find any lots that I really liked because it seemed more built up than it actually is, and I think that's because I mostly had seen the more, like, town center neighborhood, and I didn't really see this area where it's, like, sorta more farmland, and then, of course, the, like, magical forest type area. So there's 2 neighborhoods that I could get a lot of use out of, and I think that this neighborhood in particular really goes well with, like, cottage living elements, so that's pretty much what I've been doing. Like, even just this roof style and, like, the shape, it just screams, like, cottage living, and so I think that pack works really well with this neighborhood. That's also why I've been putting so many, like, barns and chicken coops in my builds that I've been building over here, and now you can see this, back cottage area over here that turns into a sort of like tea room. You go back there to have breakfast or dinner. It is cluttered like more than usual lately for me. So you can see that this build video, it is also almost an hour long, which has been like what my build videos have been recently. It's just almost an hour long. Maybe that's why I've been like burned out from editing because they're such long videos. And I don't understand sometimes because when I was editing this, I was like, this build is very small. There is no reason this video should be this long. Um, it's like 3 bedrooms, and they're not really huge bedrooms, and it's like 2 bathrooms. The kitchen's very tiny. The living room, I mean, the living room's pretty big, but while I was editing it, I realized, oh, I put a lot of clutter into this build. I also spent a lot of time on the exterior and, like, doing things and changing things, which before I had, like, one shape of the build and then it completely changed into something else, and then I have sort of, like, this area in the back, which is also, like, a little bit more effort had to be placed into it, and when I was placing these rocks here, I really wasn't sure if this section of the house would be functional, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna play test this before I upload it." And then I uploaded it without playtesting because I completely forgot, but luckily, the rocks, even though they have the grid, it doesn't interfere with anything. My Sims are still able to sit at the table, except for some reason, this time when I was just trying to get my Sims to sit at the table so that I could take a video of them, they would not cooperate. They would be frozen nonstop, and I don't know why that is, because that hasn't been happening to me in a long time, and I was getting so frustrated while this was happening. Like, I had this, like, shot planned out of, like, where you see the build, and then the camera continues to move into the cottage where you would see all the Sims gathered around for tea, but I couldn't do that. I had to make, like, a cut in it because my Sims would not, like, listen to me, and then they would start going to work, and I turned off, like, autonomy, and So then they went to work, and then I was trying to change them back into their pajamas, and like two Sims wouldn't change back into their pajamas. And then I realized that it was now in the middle of the night, and the time of day would no longer flow from one like section of the video into the next. And so I couldn't do that. So I had to do like a small cut, which it's okay anyway. It, like, got across the point anyway, but that it hasn't happened to me in a while, and I'm wondering if it is because I just recently added back in, like, MCC or, like, I every time I say that, I forget how many C's is in it, and then I think about my friend who laughs at me when I do that, and now it's like, if she's watching this, she's probably laughing at me again because I never remember, but I just recently added it back in because I only really use that mod to change the lighting when I'm, doing videos and stuff because it's easier that way. Because you could change the weather, and you could change the time of day, and you could change the season, and that's, like, pretty much a necessity when I'm doing my videos. My god, my voice cracked. But, I think maybe that mod is causing issues with my Sims. And so I'm just gonna have to remove it and then only have it in, sometimes, but I really needed the mod while I was doing that, and so the fact that my Sims weren't listening to me, um well, also, I usually don't have Sims in my intros. I usually just show the house, so this probably won't ever apply again. I just wanted the Sims there because the kit is what kind of inspired the color palette of the build, and I wanted to at least like have that in the opening instead of all the way at the end in the screenshots. But it was nice doing a different color palette based off of some of the pajamas and stuff. It was, like, nice to do something different because sometimes what it's like, because I build every week, and usually my builds are, like, a similar color palette, it starts getting repetitive to myself when I'm looking at it, and so this, like, felt refreshing to me. Even just the shape of the roof and stuff. Normally, I go for, like how do I even describe that? I don't even know. Like, the curve at the top, I usually, like, pinch in more, but then this one, I made it more, like, rounded instead of, like, having, like, a sharp angle. I don't really know how to describe it, but the roofing is very different from usual. Even the tower too, you like, normally, I do, like, just like the default octagonal room, but this one is like brought out a little bit more. So that also helps it to feel a little bit like different from all the other shapes of my builds. Cause sometimes it's like I feel like if I do the same thing over and over again, I start feeling annoying. And I'm like, really? You're doing this again? But then this one, I'm like, oh, this is very like light and it's looks a lot like different. And so I picked out all the wallpapers. I use like a white from I believe that's growing together, like the shingles at the top. Um then I use Life and Death brick and then the get together walls as well, and they all work really nicely together. And then the like back cottage where the tea room is, it's just like I'm pretty sure that's just base game siding and that's it. And I use like just like my comfort windows. It's just the same ones that I use in most builds because I know that they go really well together. And I was trying to like have the front of the house, the windows be like slightly off centered because I was putting a door there, and it's like, when I do that, I really have to just accept it, or I'll, like, start regretting it, and so when I had looked at it, I was like, "That looks a little odd," but it's intentional that it's supposed to be slightly off-centered, and I feel like I adjusted a little bit more too, because you can't really see the door right now when you're looking over there, and the shape of the build, it the floor plan ends up being a little bit weird, and I struggled figuring out what I wanted to do and where I wanted the rooms to be because like this shape and having two like front doors because I added a door where those bay windows are, it feels like a motel. Like it feels like you would access like each of the rooms from the outside where that's actually not the case. And like the section of the house to the left with the bay windows ends up being a living room with like a desk and a bookcase. And then like towards the back of the house are the two bedrooms that are technically the ones that they would be renting out, because the upstairs is where I imagine the owner lives, and they have their room and their bathroom, and then there is a ladder that goes up to the tower, which I use as like a storage tower where they have like extra like blankets and towels, things like that. I also love this glowing well that came with life and death. And so when I was going through, I was originally looking for like a bird bath, and I had seen that, and I was like, you know what? This is what I'm gonna end up using here. It was like the perfect size, and it just added another like interesting element to the outside. And I use a lot of yellow flowers as accents around the place. So like I have my ivy that has the yellow flowers, and then there's the greenery that has sort of like orangey pale flowers that are low to the ground, and then the bushes that are a little bit more of a vibrant yellow. And here I'm just like pretty much trying to show that there's a slope that leads up to the house, because there's a tiny slope. It's hard to like notice because it is like very, very small. And so I put just some rocks using tool mod to like create a definition, so you're like, "Oh, okay, this is like two different levels." It's not all completely flat despite it looking like that. And I was like originally going to do like my little stair trick that I use the base game like low fence pieces to pretend like they're stairs, but even that, it was like I felt like too much because it is like a very gentle slope. And I'm like, there's no stairs, I'm not fooling anybody with this. And like the lot itself is just pretty flat to begin with. I have just the piece lowered down in the back, and I don't really remember why I wanted the like tea room to be lowered down. I think I just imagined them walking down a bunch of stairs to get to it, and I thought that maybe it would be a little bit like more interesting, and I didn't think that I had a lot of space to like elevate the terrain so they go up a hill. And I was like, you know what, I never really do built in like to the ground type of things. Like the last time I did something like that, it was like an outdoor seating area, like a patio, and it looked really bad because this was years ago before I even really like posted sim stuff on like social media and things. I think it was just a house I was building for my sims, and those were pretty ugly. I don't even like, I'm sure if I charged my old laptop or something, I looked back, I would just cringe at how bad my houses were, because like even just a couple years ago, I feel like my builds are a little bit embarrassing. And I used to post them and I was like, yeah, these are like good enough to post. And now like looking at them, I'm like, you know, I guess you got to start somewhere because I'm not a fan of my old builds. Um, Even like sometimes I'll look back to like really old ones. Well, I say really old ones, like the old ones like that I posted at the start of me doing YouTube. It's like they're not as like bad as before, but I definitely see at least some like growth and more understanding on how to like build a house so that it's like a little bit interesting. I think it's because it also took me such a long time to learn how to like change the roof shapes using like the extra like menu, which again, it's like muscle memory. Is it like shift C or something? I don't know. I'm sure like if you do it, you probably know the exact keys to press to open up the menu to change the roof shape. But I remember that being really difficult to remember. I also remember not really understanding that you can change like one roof slope and not the other, or like I guess the eave, so you could have like them different, like on one side it could be longer and then the other side is shorter. Like I didn't even really understand how to do that. And this is all stuff that I've kind of picked up just by watching usually like people streaming. I think I picked up on a lot of those little tips watching my friend Vicky stream, because I just like I couldn't remember them. And as many times as I watched people do it, it was never like stuck in my brain because I never built enough to use it often enough for me to remember like all of these little things. But even just like I'm like 100% certain that if I didn't have Better Build By or Tool Mod, I would just not be building in The Sims 4 like ever. I think like those two mods, once I got them, it like made building so much easier and also like gave like more control over like the things that you can do. And like I cannot build without Better Build By. I mean I can, it's just a little annoying. Like I guess if like a month ago I would have said that it's impossible for me to build without those, and then when I got the pack and I didn't like put my mods in because I didn't want to break the Reaper rewards, I did do my like base game life and death builds completely without mods. And it did take me a few attempts to just like get used to not having like my mods installed and not having Better Build By to like easily find debug items and things. It's possible, but it just takes a little bit of practice because again, like that life and death build, I built like 3 variations of it before I like actually was liking what I was doing. And that's also because I haven't really done a pack limited builds in a while before that. I would like to do some more base game only builds at some point. Mostly just to like practice being able to build with limited packs again because I just like haven't been doing it. So when I did that build, I found it really difficult. But and it's also like I guess I'm not used to what I like from base game and what I know works. So like when I was doing a series of like base game plus 1 pack builds like pretty often, I kind of had an idea of what things I liked and where. And then I kind of lost most of that because it's been probably like, I wouldn't say a year, maybe it is a year. Yeah, it probably has been at least over a year since I um did like really pack limited builds often. I feel like with each pack that releases too, I think it gets a little bit easier to do pack limited builds with some of like the newer packs because I feel like in the last like 3 years, I think they've really stepped up like the build items in each pack, and so it feels a little bit easier with some of those packs compared to like really old ones. Like I remember doing a base game and get to work builds and it just felt like just doing base game. There wasn't really a lot of like build by items that I really like from that pack. Like I could think of 2. I know there's like a lamp and a little cart of books that I really like. And like this is why I need to do my tier list for the packs because I also would like to know what packs I like over others, and that I talked about that I think in my last video, which is now like 2 weeks ago because I took that like week off, but I do want to try and do a tier list video by the end of the year. And if not the end, then on like the first week of January to have it posted. That's like the plan at least. But I have like I don't really have a lot of like video ideas or build ideas planned for this month. Like I have this one and then I have my like build with me style video that'll be out next week I think. And if I like that and if people like that sort of build, I might do a base like build with me base game sort of thing where it's just me talking while I'm building and there's not really a lot of editing. I think maybe that could be interesting with like just base game. It would also probably be easier because you don't have to scroll through a lot for that. But I did talk over me kind of doing the entire landscape. I don't really have a lot to say about it. I used like the same like yellow flowers around in different areas. I added ivy around to the house where I thought that it looked a little bit empty. Some gardening places because like again, I thought that it would be nice to have like this bed and breakfast where like the charm is that everything is kind of like freshly grown and like there's fresh eggs and fresh milk and stuff. And so I wanted places for those sorts of items around. And like farming and stuff, it just fits into this neighborhood. Like I don't know like if you have life and death yet. If you do, I'd love to like hear about what your favorite lots are so far in the world. I'm like looking forward to seeing which ones I revisit a lot because usually when I build, I have like the same like 10 lots that I cycle through. And I'm like curious to see which ones of these I end up going back to like over and over again. I feel like this one is really nice. I like the rocks and the different layers of terrain in the background. It just made it a little bit difficult to like do my own terrain because I felt like I couldn't raise up a whole lot because of just like the background of it. I thought that maybe it would take away from the view of this lot. um, there's that other lot that I did that Tarot Reader's Cottage on that was really nice. It's like also sits on the water, but that one also has some houses in the background, like pretty close to the house too. But I think that that one might be a lot that I build on like often enough. I haven't done a speed build in like the more like built up town center area. I don't think. No, I haven't. So that would be nice to try and build something over there. I just struggle with building in like a built up town center, which if you had seen my Haunted Copperdale save that I started, I did like 2 community lots and that was like really difficult for me to figure out how to do those. And I haven't posted um any new builds for that yet. I do want to. I think that I'm going to refocus on that in the new year. I want to like spend December doing more like snowy builds, I think. So I'm going to like tell myself that I'm going to revisit the Copperdale save file in January. And because I'm really excited about it and I really love the builds that I did for it. And I when I was playing in Copperdale, I liked using those builds in my gameplay too. And so I would like to, get an entire save file. I think that's one that I'd be likely to actually use because I have that Glimmerbrook one that I am proud of and I like the stories that I created and the sims I created for each of the builds. But I really didn't leave a lot of like room for like customization for that save. Like I didn't leave a spot where I could move a sim in and I could like build onto the story I created with my own family. It was more like these are all the families that live here and like you can't really move anybody in because there's no open spots. And so for Copperdale, I think I want to like at least have one house where you can move in, like a starter home. 2 would be nice, but I'm not sure about 2. I think that I'm going to have like at least one rental residential for that build. So I need to stop talking about ideas and plans for other builds while like talking over this one. But this video is so long and I feel like I'd get really repetitive if I was talking about exactly what I'm doing at the time. But I'm doing the floor plan now, so I feel like I should at least talk about the floor plan a little bit because I did get very confused when I was doing it. And you could probably tell, like right there, that I didn't really know what I wanted. And oh, okay, so I do end up expanding the house out. I completely forgot that I did that. So that definitely helps me because that area where that barn is ends up being a pretty spacious bedroom with like mint green color palette and like stuff like that. It's like a good size bedroom, so expanding that out definitely helps. And then there's another bedroom downstairs that is 2 single beds. So if your sim is like visiting this for like a vacation, there is like a spot for like maybe parents and like 2 kids. I didn't put anything for like toddlers or infants. So sadly you wouldn't be able to like vacation here with like a full family of like different life stages. But the bedroom upstairs, like in my story, the owner lives up there, but technically that's another bedroom that people can stay in. So you could have a family of like 5 to 6 staying in here comfortably. The room upstairs, I think it's spacious enough to like put in um like a crib if you really need it to. You'll be able to see later if there is like space in certain rooms where you could add different life stages in. And if I sound really different, if I sound tired, it's because this is a different day and I just woke up not too long ago and I'm drinking coffee. But for this build, I remember uh like realizing later on that cuz sometimes I have mods in my game and I just assume that that's part of the game, and Better Build By usually lets you change the lighting intensity and the colors of the lights in build mode, but um something with the mod was broken and I didn't have the version that fixed the lighting. And so I was like very confused on why it was so bright while I was doing this, and then I realized that I couldn't change the lighting. My voice is struggling right now apparently. I guess I'm not used to talking for that like many sentences in the morning. But what was I saying? Yeah, I forgot that like the lights, like changing them in build mode wasn't just part of the base game. That's happened to me before with curtains too, because I use a free place curtain mod, which if you don't have that mod and you're on PC, I highly recommend it. I like cannot build without it. It lets you ignore the snap points on windows so you can all place your curtains over them, which makes a huge difference and it makes building so much easier. So like that mod and like build by are like two mods that just make building just a lot easier, and like it's less fighting with the tools. I have all the mods that I use listed in the description too. I used to have the like red shelf mod listed. I think I might have deleted it because I really don't use that mod very much. I think that um, I'm not used to using it, so I don't, like, sort and put CC on so that I could pull out the red shelf to, like, better decorate stuff on a certain level. Because most of the time I don't really, um, like to overclutter because it takes a long time, and, like, some builds I do put a lot of clutter in, like this one, I feel like it's not a huge amount of clutter, but it's definitely decorated a little bit more than like some other of my builds where I choose to not really do this what I'm doing right now where I'm moving the curtain over and I'm like adding more stuff into one section. Like I usually don't really like to spend a lot of time doing that unless I'm like really like focused and I'm enjoying doing like that and sorting through the clutter, or if I have like a shell challenge and I want to put extra effort into the interior. And like now you can tell that the lighting is super bright, so I'm sorry for that. The walls look like really washed out. It doesn't change at all. It's going to constantly be like that for this part of the build because I couldn't change the lighting and I didn't have a sim like moved in so that I could do it that way, but I do have the mod like fixed, so it's not going to be a problem later on or like in my other videos. It's just this one and that specific room is really bright for some reason, and I don't know why it's that one. I feel like I don't have like too many extra lights in that room, and like there's no windows, so maybe that also is why. Um well, I mean, the bedroom and this tower also is kind of bright. Maybe it's just that cottage living ceiling light that is like really, really bright. But up there, you can see in the tower, that's where I have like the storage stuff. And like when I was going through the decor and like looking for pieces to put into the kitchen, I was like, oh, I could have this in storage or something. And I'm like, well, this tower is not going to be used for literally anything. So I might as well make that a storage closet up there. I do normally use like upper towers like that for just decorative storage or like a hobby area. So that's like nothing different for my builds. But the base of the tower ends up being a pretty spacious bathroom. I don't think I decorated it way too much because at that point I was kind of like over decorating this build, and I was like, I don't really have to do much for a bathroom, but it is like a really nice size for a bathroom. It's like the octagonal tower, but just like brought out a little bit, I think, like on each side. So it's like maybe like two tiles bigger than it usually would be, so it like actually is like able to hold more than just a couple of items at a time. And this is the foyer of the bed and breakfast. I put some postcards here and I make a huge cut because I spent a very long time going through every single postcard in the game. And originally I was going to cover that entire wall with it, but I decided to like for some reason I like drew the line at like having only base game postcards despite like the rest of the build using so many packs. I was like I can't use these other packs. And like to be fair though, one of the packs was my first pet stuff, which a lot of people just don't have. I think it was actually free last year. I don't remember. Was my first pet stuff free at some point? I can't really remember. I know I have it because my friend wanted to be a little silly and gifted it to me. And then when like she gifted it to me, I realized that like I kind of like some of the items in it, but um it's like one of those packs that a lot of people just didn't really agree with because it had items from like well, it was like cats and dogs, but like in like a stuff pack, and people didn't like that. So a lot of people didn't have that pack, and I think that's always like stuck with me. So I was like, I can't use those. That's from my first pet stuff. Um, but I think the like collection of postcards that I put, it feels like natural. They go together well, and it like seems like places that like the guests could have either like or okay, I was like trying to think of what the story would be behind that. I guess like the owner here very like personable and they'd like befriend a lot of the people staying at their bed and breakfast, and then like people would like leave and maybe send postcards either from where they live or in like another destination that they're going to on vacation, and that's why they have like the postcards at the front. And I was using some of the new like build buy kit. So that chair in the foyer is from it. So is the yellow ottoman, the bowl of apples, and my favorite item. I have two favorite items from the new kit. It is a like step stool with like different levels, which we don't have. So I really like that we have that. And like a vintage looking radio, which I don't know if that's a functional radio or not. I wasn't really paying attention. But like at first glance, the kit doesn't really seem like it would be my style or I would get much use out of it. And so when I was like gifted the code through the EA Creator Network, I like sat down and I was like, okay, I'm gonna find some swatches that could work for my builds. And I ended up building like just a basement room just to showcase the items and like play around with the swatches and like pairing it with the basement treasures kit. And so like I realized that I really liked a lot of the items because like when I first looked at it I was like I don't know what I could do with this because it feels like a different style from like the furniture I usually like reach for, and the colors are very like bright, which usually my builds aren't this colorful. But it was perfect for this build, and I think it like goes well with the color palette of the other kit too. And I did say in like a previous video that when I get packs for free, I kind of want to at least like talk about if I would have bought them if I wasn't given them for free. And like the Create a Sim kit I would have bought. Like even though I don't play a lot of gameplay, like I started a gameplay save, but it's like not really the main thing I do in The Sims. I'm a sucker for create a sim kits for some reason, even though I don't make sims very often, but this one was like really beautiful. And so like and the pajamas were really nice. So yeah, I would have gotten the Create a Sim kit and then like barely used it, but then like would have had it whenever like I played. And like the build buy kit, like I think just the way that it was like marketed, it didn't seem like it was like something that I would be able to use in my builds. And I think I'm a little bit more like picky with my build kits because I like started to try and not just buy every single one. And I think I would have been really tempted by the like antique radio in the kit, and I would have like really had to think if I wanted to spend $5 on a kit that just had one radio in it. So I don't think I would have bought the build buy kit right away, but I think like um after maybe seeing other people build with it and seeing the like little like step ladder stool and like the more like bluish gray swatches, I think I would have considered it a lot more. So I don't know like when I would have ended up buying it, but I'm glad that I have it because I was able to actually like have the pack in my game and like see how the items work for me specifically, because sometimes if I'm like even just watching someone build with it, I like I'm not always sold right away because I'm like, I don't know if I'll use those items, or like they'll focus more on one swatch and like not like the ones that I would probably use. Um like my friend Vicky, when she would buy a pack and I would see her streams, we have like a pretty like similar like building vibe, I guess. Like she builds very witchy builds. And so if like she sees a pack and she's like praising it, I always would be like, yep, I'm getting that kit, like easy. But she hasn't done that in a while. So like I don't know. But I'm glad that I have this kit though. I think that I'm going to use a lot. Oh yeah, there's like a greenish swatch for it too, because that's like the green swatch I used in the step stool thing. So I like that swatch too. But I mean, like, if you're curious about that like basement room that I built, it's not on the gallery or anything. I did post it on my Twitter and my BlueSky. So did I post on BlueSky? Yeah, I think I did. I'm like trying to like just move away from Twitter a lot. So like I really just post my weekly builds on there. I don't know if I'll post like I'm not sure. But it's on Blue Sky for sure, and that's kind of where I've been posting more often lately. I'm not like extremely active on a lot of social media at the moment. Like I'm not like on every day. I'm not posting things every day. Maybe like a couple times a week on Blue Sky and then like once a week on Instagram. But I've been posting more like variety of stuff on Blue Sky than like my other socials. Like I'm starting to post some Animal Crossing stuff on there. So if you like Animal Crossing or if you'd like to see um my like other interests, I guess. It's like I'm talking as if I post a lot of stuff on there. I literally only just started posting Animal Crossing on there. But I've been posting my like what is it? My villager houses that I've been decorating for like Sherb and Aurora, because I'm getting back into Animal Crossing and I have two Switches. I have like one from when it came out, and then I bought like the Animal Crossing one like a few years later down the line. And so I just restarted another island. And I forgot how much I love Animal Crossing. And I'm like hoping this time when I'm like starting another island, I don't lose interest in it right away. But I've also been like trying to stream on Twitch once a week, and like for now I picked Sunday as that day. And so I really want to try and like stick to streaming every Sunday, even if it's just for a short amount of time. So if you're interested in like hanging out at a Twitch stream where it's just, like I don't know how to just sell it. I'm not gonna try and sell it, but if you're interested, I am trying to stream every Sunday on Twitch. So you can follow me there if you would like. That's all I have to say on that. But you can now see that that room is now fully decorated, and I went for like a very light green color palette in that room, and I really enjoy all of the like items together and all the green swatches. I feel like it came together really well. And then this one, it's also green, but it feels a little bit darker, a little bit cozier. I think that's just because of the darker wall swatches, and like the other room had bright white floral wallpaper. This one has like green wainscoting and like a cottage living printed wallpaper at the top. I really like the like free um it was like the free pillow that came with like some sort of event rewards. I like that with the new chair that came with the new kit that had come out. It's like a really nice swatch too, and it worked really well with the cottage living wallpaper in here. So maybe I will be using that type of chair more often. It also reminds me of The Sims 2. Like there was, I think it was like an IKEA chair that I always used in The Sims 2. And so it reminds me of that, which like I love because I love The Sims 2. And anything that reminds me of The Sims 2, it just gets like extra points for me. Which reminds me that like I had seen a Sims 2 DS reel last night, and now like I just want to play my DS again. But like specifically the Sims 2 DS, that was like my favorite game as a kid. um and like I really am hoping that one day they'll like port it onto the Switch. That would be like a dream come true. The day that they put Sims 2 DS on literally anything, I'll be so happy. I would also like, my actual dream would be if they remade the entire game with like updated graphics and stuff. That would be like, I don't know, there's just something about that storyline that's just perfect. And it's like a little eerie too. It's just like the best game I've ever played. I'm pretty sure I need to make sure my DS is charged, and I feel like that's a game I want to play maybe tonight after I stream, because it's, wait, is this Sunday? What day is it right now? Okay, it is Sunday. I got a little bit confused. It's like the holiday weekend, and I just forgot what day of the week it is. And I'm posting this video on Tuesday, so now it's like my brain assumes that Tuesday is the new Monday. And I was like, is today Sunday or is it Saturday now? Because I am not posting this video tomorrow. And that's because I didn't want to rush a voiceover. Like I didn't plan to do this voiceover when I woke up. Um, and I was like, should I even do a voiceover? Because I'm going to be streaming. But then I remembered last week, I'm not used to talking for like hours at a time. Because when I do these voiceovers, I'm like taking like a little bit of pauses between talking. And I'm also like sometimes doing them in different days too. And my throat hurt so bad last week after my stream. And then I decided it would be a good idea to play Dead by Daylight with my friends after my stream. And then I forgot my voice hurt. Then the next day my voice, like my throat really hurt. And I was like, okay, so if I stream today, my voice is gonna maybe my throat is gonna hurt on Monday, and I won't be able to do a voiceover very well. And so I was like, okay, I'm up now. Let me just do this voiceover while I'm sleepy and constantly have to stop because I either need to like cough or my voice slowly is like, it's like disappearing from me. I should mention something about this living room, and that is that the fireplace is not functional, and I apologize for that. I uploaded this to the gallery before I play tested it because I kind of forgot. I thought it was like completely done. And then when I was trying to light the fireplace in here, because the chimney smoke wouldn't like work when I was um doing my intro video, and like sometimes the chimney smoke won't work, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to not have it, I guess. But I thought maybe if I lit that one instead of like the other ones, it would cause the chimney smoke. And then I realized that it wasn't functional, but I didn't really want to have to figure out what was causing it. And I was like, I already uploaded this. And I was like, how many people are going to try and light that fireplace? I'm not sure. Because, like, in my gameplay, I don't light fireplaces. And sometimes I get a little bit annoyed if my Sims are just randomly lighting the fireplace. And there's a rug very close to this. So there'd probably be a fire. And I don't remember if I put a smoke detector in this build. I feel like right now I'm like, oh, I would have put one in because it's like a rental, like a bed and breakfast. So I probably did put it in. But that, I don't know. I really can't remember if I did or not. But this fireplace is not functional. It could be literally any of these items. I'm pretty sure it's most likely the two console tables that are going slightly into the fireplace. I think that's the issue. You'd have to like move like those around just a little bit. Like the fireplace might end up being off centered if you do that, but that's I think the only way that it'll be functional. And I am glad that I somehow figured out the floor plan for this build because, well, for this living room specifically, because it was such an odd like room and it was so long and I didn't know what to do and where to put this stuff. And I know that like it might be a little bit odd having the TV just like off to the side of the room, but I, like, thought that, like, you just gotta figure it out, and maybe the people who own this place, they have this large fireplace, and they're like, having the TV all the way up there is probably not good for, like, the guests' like, necks and posture, so we're just gonna put the TV off to the side here, and it's better to have a TV than no TV in here, is probably what they were thinking, and here I am just trying to, like, come up with why the TV is, in kind of a strange place, but I kind of like that it's there. It feels a little natural and like lived in, and like like a fireplace is just there, so you're gonna have to work around that when you move into it. Um, and then I put the like desk over there, which I think helped to cut the room in half a little bit and make it feel less long and um like too empty. And so like putting the desk so that it like splits the room in half almost like a divider like really helped me to fill in the space better. And now we're in the tea room and I spent a lot of time trying to pick out the perfect dining room table for it. 'Cause, like, when I envisioned this was, like, the part of the build that I had, like, an idea in my head of what it should look like, and I wanted something with, like, a really nice tablecloth, but, like, I wanted the tablecloth from cottage living, and I don't think we have any, like, tablecloths for, like, longer tables, and I needed a long table in here because the, like, round one was way too small for the space, and so I kind of had to, like, decide on different ones, but I'm happy with the choice that I made and having this larger table because then I could fit more of, like, a breakfast spread on it, so there's, like, bread, and I have some candles, and I have, like, a thing of jam and, like, the tea area too. This area didn't, like, become what I originally had pictured. I imagined something a lot brighter and feeling a lot more open and airy, and this feels a lot darker and cozier than, like, I guess what I imagined. I don't even know what I imagined very fully. I just, like, have a, like, small idea. I think it was, like, more, like, larger windows, but because I lowered this down into the ground a little bit, I could only use, like, regular windows, but I think that I, like, more so imagine, like, very large floor to ceiling windows, and maybe that's why, it came out differently than what I had originally planned for it, which is still okay because I do like how it came out. I feel like, um it was like the space gets filled in very nicely. It's like looks cluttered enough and there's like enough furniture around that makes it feel like there's a lot of like food and also like a lot of like storage for dishes and serving trays. Like I have this cabinet here that I end up moving to the other wall and I use the life and death. I think it's like a funeral table sort of item. I don't remember what it's called exactly, but I think that's where you're like supposed to put the photo of the sim who passed. Um, but I ended up using it as like a buffet table because I liked the shape of it and I liked that it had different like levels to it. So it's right here. And so I use this for like different breakfast items. I think I have, like, pastries on there. We'll see what I end up putting on there because it's been, almost 2 weeks since I've decorated this, so I also don't remember very well everything that I did in this build, which is usually what happens anyway, even if I build something and then later in the week is when I upload it. But, okay, so I put some condiments and things there too, and, like, every time I am going through, I guess I find something that I want in another part of the house or in the storage tower area, but for the most part, I just stay decorating this room, which is not how I've always built. Like, I know that I often see people saying that they couldn't do speed builds because they are kind of like everywhere when they build, like they move to different parts of the house, which I think is fine too. Like, I don't think that ruins someone's viewing experience at all. When I started, I kind of like forced myself to stay in one room at a time, and now that's just how I naturally build for the most part. I do like branch off into other areas of the house, but I try and like I don't know, I've like learned to just stick to one spot for a lot longer than I used to. Like when I would build many years ago, I would build the house and then I would decorate the inside, which used to be my favorite part of building. Now I think my favorite part of building is like landscaping and just the exterior. And so I used to build like the shell of the house and then do the interior. And then if I felt like it, I would go back and put plants around. But because I didn't like landscaping, I left it for last and then I usually didn't do anything. And now it's somehow become my favorite part of building. And I really think that is because of Twistedmexi's mods and having access to all like the debug and live edit stuff, which you can still get through cheats in the game, but I think that's why I like it so much. And like interiors, I think it's just like it takes so much longer and so much more focus. Um, I like can't just space out an eye drop like the same plant over and over again because my landscapes are probably like no more than 10 items, and so I could just, like, mix and match them together, and then, like, interiors, you kind of have to go through the entire catalog, and with the amount of packs that are in the game now, it takes a pretty long time, but building every week, I tend to have an idea of where certain things are now, that sometimes is hard to find. Like, I'll know when I need to just search the word up in the search bar or if I know exactly where it is in the catalog. But now we're upstairs to the owner of the bed and breakfast living space. This is their bathroom, which is a great sized bathroom. I ended up having it like I used platforms in this part of the build. So you walk into like I guess like a little hallway into the bathroom, which is on the regular like like floor height and then you step down into the bathroom. I think I wanted it to step up, but then I feel like something was wrong that I didn't like, and so I didn't do that. And I had to wall it off and put an archway because for some reason, when you use platforms, the roofs go into the build. And I don't know if there's a fix for that besides just having to create separate rooms, but that's what I ended up having to do, which is okay. I still kind of gave the feel that I wanted of, like, stepping into the bathroom with, like, a different, like, elevation, which is the word that I was probably looking for before. And now we're in the, like, bedroom area, and there's, like, a small desk with a pastel tablet set up over here too for, I guess, like, businessy things and, like, guest information. And this room has a pink and white color palette, which I think is really pretty. Green and pink are my two favorite colors, and I like pastel colors a lot in like real life. Like my bedroom walls are a very like pale pink, and then I have one accent wall that is white that like goes up into like the curve of the ceiling, and I feel like it looks really nice. But and my carpet is pink, but that's just because that's what my carpet was when I was a child. And most of my furniture, I like having it very light because dark furniture makes me feel claustrophobic. But I love like the antique look of darker furniture and like gold accents and stuff. And I think that's just like when I was growing up, I had a lot of that furniture. And when I got older, I kind of liked a lot like lighter colors in my room. And so that's kind of what I gravitate towards. And now I realize that the video is over. So now we can see the screenshots of the build. And I had a couple of my Sims with the pajamas on. I used like 3 of my Sims for my Glimmerbrook save file in here because I don't make Sims very often. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I decided to make some new stuff for like my end screen and things. So you can find my other socials there and below. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.